Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. It's very sad that there's a lot of horrible barriers that came between me and other people. We see that destiny and generational laziness has done in the human race as they refuse to scramble to do what is right. Even animals can scramble to, build things like beavers build dams. Animals can make nests. So what? You are lazy if you don't scramble to do what is right. And there are various barriers between me and other people. Racial barriers, religious barriers, social barriers, very petty barriers, economic barriers. We see that the evidence shows us that only racists and people who put the cult of the flesh over God in their hearts and minds choose to not believe me. Their idols are racial idols more often than not. More often than not. The vast majority of people, we see that the vast majority of people have racial idols. So if I was to get angry and start calling them racial names, it's because they put their races before God. I'm not a racial supremacist. If a gorgeous Jewish female or white female or Asian or whoever were to come to me and submit to God through me with all their heart, I almost certainly would date them. I wouldn't think twice about it. I'd feel very happy and very blessed if that was to occur. I'm not racist. But it is impossible to miss the obvious that people have racial idols. They don't just worship Baal, they worship Baal in their in their racial form. If they're white, they tend to worship a white version of Baal. If they're Jewish, they tend to worship a Jewish version of Baal. That's why Zeus and Jupiter, right? These were Roman deities, mostly white versions of Baal. And Baal was basically a Semitic Baal, if you will. It's important that you understand that. There are also people who, while being racial supremacists and otherwise, have sex cults that are multicultural. Very foolish people. All these people. Life is short and you should live a righteous life. I've been saying this for years. I even had it on a bumper sticker. It says, short righteous life is greater than a long wicked life. It's greater than a long conformist life. When I went on those trips, when I rented those 4 cars for $2,000 in 4 different times, I had temporary bumper stickers on the rental car in the window. Thank goodness they came off easily. I was worried about it. I'm like, man, is this going to come off? Am I going to forget to take these off? And I remembered to take them off before I gave back the cars. And they would say things like, a short righteous life is greater than a long wicked life. And I'm Christ, and so on and so forth. That's how far I went out of my way to get the message out. And I'm still going on my way to get the message out. Now, why are people responding? Because they set up false idols in their hearts. They think that a life of being a nerd or being a jock, these things aren't just groups in high school. These are life paths that they're choosing. Just because you read a lot doesn't mean you should be a nerd. Just because you look like, the Revenge of the Nerds guy or something doesn't mean you should be a nerd. A nerd is someone who's foolish and contemptible and boringly studious. If they obey God through me, they wouldn't be a nerd. You see, the churches, mosques, synagogues, they're full of nerds. Hindu temples, Buddhist temples, because they're ignoring the evidence here. There's countless religious paths. Is it a coincidence that people tend to choose the religion that's from their race or ethnic group? If it's over there in Asia, there's a bunch of Asians there worshiping them and try to get their idea out to people who are more like them in the other races. If it was from, Semites, same thing. People tend to choose their race's idol. Their race's false idol. I can't stress that enough. So when we look at this, we see that it's a form of racism. Racism comes in many forms. If you refuse to admit that I'm the son of God because I'm not the same race as you, whether you see that's the problem or not, that's a form of racism. If you only date people who are your race, that's a form of racism. I mean, think about it. If you're white, do you think all the hot chicks are in some small white town in the South? Or a big white, city in the South, or whatever? Or do you think it's more like, in a beach in California or Miami Beach? Where are all the hot chicks? There's a general consensus that the hottest chicks tend to be at multicultural beaches. When we look at life in general, we look at sports. I see a bunch of black sports players. We look at soccer, right? We see people, Hispanics and various other races shining in soccer. We look at the various things, right? We see that only a fool would choose people based on their race alone. If you're a soccer coach, you want the best team for your country, would you just choose your race? No. You look for talent anywhere, right? This is a pattern in nature. When you're hiring someone for your job, and someone is going to fly the plane or do surgery on you, say regardless of what race, whoever's the best for the job. Why, when it comes to dating, everyone just doesn't understand that? Or they get brainwashed by the system with these so-called multicultural cults, or really white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacist cults that are controlling the so-called multicultural movements that we see in society. They're centered in race because their idols are racial idols. False idols, racial or not, are detestable to God. They are pathetic. When someone chooses to say me, 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 like a little psychotic, drug-addicted kid or something, instead of choosing universal pinpoint and moral precision and accepting the order that God gave. And they are a racist and a rapist, whether they see it that way or not. They are a calculating racist and a rapist to some degree because they're in the spirit of calculated racism and rape and mass murder and mass drugging and other things as well, as you see it play out. That's why in the Greek and Roman system you have deities of plagues and medicine, of deities of mass murder, basically. Deities of war and chaos and discord. Because when people refuse to admit that universal pinpoint and moral precision is the only true religion, they become a pitiful worm. And as you look at it as somebody who is honest enough to admit that it's universal pinpoint and moral precision, not this race or this tribe or that tribe, and you look at these people choosing their racial idols, their racial religions, you know beyond a reasonable doubt that they're lesser forms of life. Now, how do you put a light on the stand unless you prove to the best of your ability that your light is superior to their Luciferian light? You say their fruits are less, their marriages are less, their works are less. And we're not talking about who could fix a car better or paint a painting. Who cares about those things? We're talking about when all is said and done, what is your life path? Do you have the heart to be righteous? Or are you just some kind of racial idol following worm? What makes someone better than someone else has to do with morality, right? Good, better, best. Being a good person. Doing what is good, right? Fair and just and right. So when people cultivate racial idols instead of universal pinpoint and moral precision, and martial arts are life paths, are expressions of spiritual power, is it a coincidence they couldn't come close to beating me? That they resorted to sabotaging me? With them putting their heads together with all their false idols. You see various people trying to put me in their social wars. They say don't cuss. The word cuss is like the word curse. What's the difference between the F word and the sex word? It's sex, right? What's the big deal? Sex, sex, sex. Is it a bad thing to say? Then why would the F word be? Because the people who don't want you to use those words don't want you to cuss at them and their society. They don't want you to say F you to their child molester priests, to their politicians, to their businessmen, to their quote unquote important people. Say, screw that, school. Fuck these idiots over there. Why should I listen to those worms who worship the devil? Because they know that's a form of conveying a spirit of disapproval from a source. And when you're meeting the top martial artists ever possible and you say, I disapprove of the governing class, that is powerful. Everyone on this planet could point to me and say, I disapprove of you. Not very powerful. I can point to them and say, I disapprove of you. Very powerful. Because they're just the pot. God is the potter. He can break the pot anytime he wants. Can the potter say to the pot that you're less? Yes. Can the pot say to the potter that he's less? No. That's retarded. And when they try to, in the way that you people are trying to, or any other way, boy, do you look stupid. That is just powerless people running their mouths. So I rebuke you with all your racial idols. I rebuke your marriages, your martial arts, your militaries, your governments. And keep in mind, I do urge people to be calm, calculated, analytical, and to show restraint. But I'm Christ, and this is Revelation 20. Not only have I been laying people down like ducks in Revelation 19, this is Revelation 20, not as interpreted by some occult, new age, LGBT person, a bunch of weird tattoos or something. Not as interpreted by the churches or some hypocrites who have no business trying to explain God's business. They're outside the divine order. Who would take them seriously? It's a clown show. And the word church has the same root term as the word circus, because it's a clown show. They're going down as a clown. And the word down and the word clown has the word own, which is New World Order, WNO Scrabble. Is that a coincidence? No. In their own language, we see these Setians, these Ballists, these mere Zeus worms, Jupiterian dogs, testifying against themselves. So I want to end this by saying this to you. I want you all to picture a gorgeous Hawaiian female, more beautiful than you thought ever existed. A gorgeous French female, Chinese, Japanese, Ethiopian, Filipina, Arab, Persian, Jewish, anything you could think of, every race you could think of. Now imagine them watching me in a big stadium. And they decide, when all is said and done, to keep doing what they're doing, to keep following their God-forsaken false idols. When I say that, it's not insulting God at all. I say God forsakes them. God doesn't approve them. God damns those false idols and those following them. What are they worth, even together? They're just whores. They've chose to be a whore following a lie and having sex based on that lie. That's basically what a whore does wrong. You think it's okay just to sleep with people for money? Just for money and social acceptance and to find your life in this world and have houses? You people don't hesitate, generally speaking, don't hesitate to insult whores. Say she's a whore. She might be doing it to feed her kid. You didn't care. She might be doing it for a roof over her head. You didn't care. And you were right, because a whore is a whore. It's a dishonorable dog. But you don't want to admit that you and the female members of your families are all whores as well. You don't want to admit that, do you? Because you're not man enough or woman enough to admit it and to stop encouraging them. But what they did wrong wasn't having sex. It was having sex in the spirit of evil. It was having sex in a way that was evil and immoral. They follow like a false idol of prostitutes like Aphrodite or Venus. Or Isis is interpreted by them. Or Hera, a deity of whores. The Capitoline Mint, money, whores. Juno, a slut. The word lust is the word slut scrambled. Some kind of childish, gypsy sort of whore. Some kind of fortune teller slut. Some kind of just pagan idiot. Some kind of atheist, just moron, just dumb female. So when we visualize these people in their cultures, the most attractive females they have to offer, we see how they let down their society, their daughters, their mothers, their wives, their sisters, their friends, their grandchildren, you name it, their grandparents, you name it. How can we not resent them when they say, hey, don't insult us, because this has to do with our race? And they seek refuge in their race from God's justice they're hiding behind their race. Should the Klan be able to hide behind being white? Should Nazis be able to hide behind being German? Should Zionists be able to hide behind being Jewish? But magically, when it comes to your races, generally speaking at least, you don't see how you're no better than they are, hiding behind the false idols of your race, trying to survive like a street-walking slut. Now, if you were the most righteous person that ever lived, that would rather be burned alive than to betray God, would you not damn a planet like this straight to hell with the rest of the prostitutes, beasts, and serpents? What I say to all attractive females, if this story ends with you continuing to shun me and me not having a suitable helper, all hell is going to break down on you and your families. When I say to the male members of their families and communities, if this ends that way, no matter how tough you think you are, I'm saying this on behalf of God Almighty, I'm going to cook your souls so ruthlessly and forever.